All right, let's get into some bettable action here for the Saturday night card. And we'll get into the first game on the board. We've got the Phoenix Suns. They are going to be in Chicago, to take on the Chicago Bulls. Bulls catching 3.5 points here at home, Mac, with a total of 239.5. As far as the injury report goes, let me see if we have an updated one here. Not quite yet, but I do expect at least everybody for Phoenix to be out there. We did see Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Nick Richards, Grayson Allen, their starters play on Thursday against the San Antonio Spurs. For the Chicago Bulls, it is post Zach LaVine era. Most of their guys are going to be going in this game here as well. But Phoenix, a team that, how should I put it, Mac? I guess I don't want to say motivation is a question, but I think there may be some more things going on in the locker room
Sure.
for this team. But they're actually laying 3.5 here on the road. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's been bet down a little bit. I don't think it's injury related. I think it's vibes related. Really, you hear some things in passing and you think, okay, that's, remember that, but maybe don't change your whole fundamental idea about a team. But when Ramona Shelburne said about a month ago that it's a toxic, bad place to be type locker room, I should have just packed up my Sun stock, just gone on the street and sold it for pennies on the dollar. There's something going on. It's hard to explain if Kevin Durant's going to shoot 75%, Royce O'Neal's going to put 27 points. You're going to get damn near blown out by a Victor Wembanyama's Spurs team.
Yeah.
It's in the water there. That said, their defense hasn't been, I mean, it's been worse than expected, but it's been about as expected. You look at the year to date, they're about 14th in the league. In the last 30 days, they're 17th. Not great, but decent. And the Bulls, this is my bet in the game. I like the Bulls under team total. I'm seeing 117.5. I actually bet it at minus 119. Had to lay minus 130, 119.5. I don't see how Chicago scores 120 here. Phoenix still has pride on the table, still has guys. Uh, Budenholzer, there's kind of been a report that he's not going to lose his job, meaning he's going to play guys that are going to play defense. They're going to try. Um, and the Bulls, since the Zach LaVine trade, which you mentioned, here are their offensive ranks out of 100, like their percentile performance in the league. February 5th, that's the day they traded LaVine, 52%. Since then, they've not been close to 52%. The next game, they scored 111 points. They were 39%. They scored 92 versus the Pistons. That was a 0 percentile ranking. I bet this game under with this thinking in mind. It went over by a half point, hurt my feelings, but it wasn't because of the Bulls. They scored 110 points in the rarely seen immediate revenge spot next day in United Center. All right, we just got blown out by 40. We're going to play the exact same team in our division. We're going to show some pride. They kind of did for a quarter, but their offense just, they have no answers. They were 21 percentile. And in the last game against the Knicks, they were 15th percentile in a fast paced game. They still scored 111 points. Since these trades, they haven't sniffed 112 points, let alone 120. So I like the bet. It's, got to hold your nose when you're betting anything related to the Suns. I've definitely been wrong about them. They're not as good as I thought. They're not as good as last year, even though their team on paper should be a lot better. But this Bulls thing, I think it's a little bit under the radar. They just don't have the slings and arrows to make it. But it's not their defense, it's their offense in particular. So I want to isolate that.
Yeah, I think for what you mentioned, defensively for the Suns, if you watch the game on Thursday night, De'Aaron Fox was actively hunting Grayson Allen in that game, and he took over down the stretch in that fourth quarter. I don't think that the Bulls have that type of player. You could make an argument, and I'm not saying that Kobe White is a De'Aaron Fox type of player, but I don't think that they have the offensive capabilities of what the San Antonio Spurs were able to do against the Phoenix Suns defensively, or I should say offensively down the stretch against that Phoenix Suns defense. And again, talk about again any sport, right? Whether it's NFL, whether it's NBA, it's a game of adjustments. And I think that Coach Bud has to make those type of defensive adjustments if they want an opportunity to get into that play-in tournament bracket. Because again, this is a team right now, the Phoenix Suns, that is sitting on the outside looking in, sitting in the 11th spot right now. They're 2 games behind both the Sacramento Kings and the Golden State Warriors here. So Um, I think it's a good bounce back spot here for the Suns. I would look at that way -3.5, but I just need to see a more of a collective, um, a complete effort from this Phoenix Suns team. Because if you were watching that game on Thursday in particular, coming out of the All Star break, the body language just didn't look good for this Phoenix Suns team. And I know that there's mentions of Kevin Durant being upset that his name was in trade rumors mid-season, things like that. But hopefully that's something that they're able to put past themselves and just go out and play basketball. Because again, we know Kevin Durant, when healthy and on the floor, one of the best players, one of the best scorers in the entire association there. So I'd look at the Suns here at -3.5. I think that would be the look here for me.